Hello, human peoples. You're listening to the podcast network of Gamefully Unemployed. To support us and gain access to great exclusive podcasts like Fox Mulder is a Maniac, Tom and Jeff Watch Batman, Star Trek The Next Futurama, and our latest show, Spiel Boys, head over to patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. We do game streaming, movie nights with our patrons every Friday night, and you can even commission your own podcast about anything you want. Literally anything, within reason, and we have to do it. You are quite frankly out of excuses not to go visit patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. That's patreon.com/GAMEFULLY unemployed, which is spelled like it sounds.
Halbkast mit Tom Reimann und David Bell.
Hello, everyone.
Hey!
We're an episode of STRIKEcast!
Strike.
The show that we have always done, where we get hyped about stuff and things. I am your co-host, Tom Ryman.
I'm the other one, David Bell.
And I'm me,
Yeah!
Sarah Griffith, the guest this week.
Thank you so much. Always a pleasure having you on.
Thank you.
Welcome
Pleasure's
back.
all mine.
Welcome to the new and improved STRIKEcast. The beauty of STRIKEcast is that, legally speaking, no one on this show is breaking any rules.
Nope.
Woo!
If they're in SAG or not, or need to be, or WGA, that's the beauty of STRIKEcast.
Yep.
Our
It was
wonderful show
it
that
was
we've
our
always
hope
had.
for the show that it would be a safe haven,
Exactly.
a legal shelter.
Yeah, we're not.
Well, this
Bill
is all
Maherring
above
it.
board. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. What are you up to? What are you doing? How's life been?
Just trying my best. I was actually having like the best year ever up until the summer, but I'm finding my sea legs, my strike legs, getting used to a whole new world. Guys, I'm taking stand-up classes.
Oh, fuck!
How's it going?
What do you think about that? My first class is tonight. I'm really hoping they can help me out because I've just been sitting forever and I see people standing up and I think I want to do that. So I'm finally going to learn.
That's awesome. I mean,
So yeah.
it is a good idea. It's sort of one of those things like improv class where it's like that isn't not a that's
might as
a
well.
useful tool.
Yeah.
But of course it's like, oh, I bet I'm gonna meet some real creeps too. Like it's both, right?
Absolutely.
a real
Any kind of
minefield.
like, any level of acting class I've ever been in, half of the people in that class, I never want to see you again. Do not make direct eye contact with me. I have people's phone, like usually when women have numbers in their phone, like saved like asshole, do not text, annoying prick. That's like men they used to date. Those are men I used to do improv with and I've been in classes with in LA where it's like, oh my God, shut up, man.
Film school's no different. It's
Absolutely,
anything.
absolutely.
I imagine
Just a bunch of contacts saved under this motherfucker.
Yeah.
I have annoying guy and another annoying guy. I know those are two contacts in my phone.
Incredible. Well, man, best of luck to you.
Thank you.
Going out there, doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, now is the time to find a fun class, something that you've never done before, something you've been curious about. This is the time. Like, go ahead, check that out. Why not? Learn a new skill. Worst case scenario, it sucks and you wasted 8 weeknights of your life, but
It's honestly the better way to do. Like, I took public speaking class in high school. What was beautiful about that is instead of going to an open mic where it's just the wild fucking west, you're in a class where you get up in front of everybody and everybody's in the same spot, right?
Exactly. Class is the best place to bomb and just be awful, god awful at whatever it is you're trying to learn. Class is the only place on earth where it's this is your free place to suck. You can just suck here. That's fine.
Suck
In exchange-
without consequence.
Just suck.
You can suck without consequence. However, you will get, after you suck, a person will then stand up and explain in great detail why you sucked. Like,
they'll
so
tell me,
what went
in a
wrong?
compliment sandwich. Yeah. Sarah, I loved the way you said those things. I thought your tone of voice was very strong. I thought everything that you said sucked, but I like the jeans you're wearing. Like, that's class. Yeah.
You look great. Lots of confidence saying that garbage.
Oh, yeah.
So much confidence.
You said a lot of dumb shit real strongly.
Yeah.
I didn't think anything was necessarily funny, and actually I'm afraid of you now, but you definitely said it out loud, and I understood every word you said.
Yeah, I will refund this class. I never do that, but I will.
Just please never come here again.
Oh, wonderful.
Anyway.
Well, you guys ready to talk about some movies, some trailers from perhaps not modern times?
Let's go back. We have to go back.
Let's
What is
turn
perhaps
back time.
To a very bleak time.
Oh man, this was a dark time for movies. Like this.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I can't wait to talk about these. This
Yeah,
brought me
but first-
screaming
Yeah,
back.
wow.
Yeah.
This
first we
dragged
gotta-
me back in time.
It really did. I worked at a movie theater during this era, so
Yeah, same.
Oh, my fucking
like
God.
right before this, actually, I had quit come this point, like this summer.
Yep.
But
this was from an era where I could see movies for free, and I still didn't see a lot of these because I was like, no, it's
Exactly.
not worth 2 hours. First, we got to thank some patron producers, so let's dive right in.
Sure.
Big thank you to @NerdNumbers. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you to Zero Charisma.
Thank you.
Thank you to Aaron Burser.
Thank you so much.
Thank you to AJ.
Thank you.
Thank you to Andrew Howe, Deck the Halls with Blood.
Thank you.
Thank you to Asking Seven.
Thank you.
Thank you to Bob Grenville.
Thank you so much.
Thank you to Bootler Boodleson.
Thank you. Let me jump in here. Thank you to Brian, who Tom knows. Sure do.
Thank you.
Thank you to Brockway loves the meat millie.
Thank you.
Thank you to Burrito wants you to drink water, hit the gym, and do the ska because he loves y'all.
I'm doing all that right now.
Thank you to Chester's Prophet.
Thank you.
Thank you to Christopher Robert Sparks, Esquire.
Thank
Thank you to Dan Hackroyd.
Thank you.
Thank you to Davey, the ghost of East Las Vegas Francis.
Thank you.
And thank you to David Knife Boot Henson.
Knife Boot. Thank you.
Oh,
man.
man.
I didn't update this. I usually check messages and update it. I forgot to, so if you messaged me in the last week, I'll get around to it. My apologies. Thank you all. Let's talk about the 2003 movie Cabin Fever.
The films of September 2003.
Yes. we were just shaking off 9/11. We were getting to it.
Kicking it off the dirt of it off our heels.
We're like, all right, we had one bad year. Let's get back
I
into
think
it here.
we're in Iraq now, right? 2003?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I think we should
Yeah,
go
March,
on.
April,
I
May
think
of
we're
this year,
yeah, we are peak
Yeah.
Homeland Security. Threat level orange. Do you
Freedom
remember when they would, like,
fries.
every day on the news, they would have the threat level red, orange,
Or
green,
orange,
and, like,
yes.
it would be, like, part of the forecast, like, it's a little bit cloudy out, and the threat level is at orange.
Orange.
Yeah.
Could get a
Today,
little
so
hazy into
careful.
yellow this afternoon.
Yeah,
people
careful
who are-
walking into government buildings. It's the
Yeah.
threat level orange.
For younger audiences, I would argue like we've certainly had worse president situations since then.
Oh, my God.
But this was probably the stupidest the country's ever been in my lifetime. This was like,
Yeah.
again, freedom fries threat level. All while we were essentially beating up another country that was not like. That's the thing,
there were
is we were
warnings
invading
on the
a country.
news about the possibility of trained terrorist dolphins.
Oh yeah, and I said I worked at a movie theater. That movie theater was shut down for a night when the Joanne Fabrics found white powder in the Joanne Fabrics, and the cops came because they thought terrorists had
my
gone after
God.
the Joanne
Thought
Fabrics.
Al Qaeda had thrown anthrax into the
Yeah,
Joanne
this
fabrics.
was anthrax era. Oh, wow.
Yeah, this is some fucked
This
up
is
dumb
anthrax
America.
DC sniper shit.
Yeah, this is real bleak times. But we got this Eli Roth movie, Cabin Fever.
Sure did.
And I just want to note, like, this was his first film, and there's I'm not
This
a
is
huge
his
Eli
best
Roth
film.
fan. Yeah, this is his best film, and it also was one of the things about this era was horror was bleak, and I think that's important to note for this movie because it's like this movie was like a ray of sunshine to me, where it was like kind of incredible to see a horror movie that doesn't. It's like advertised as a supernatural thing, but then you watch it and you're like, oh my god, it's not at all. It's a neat idea. Do you guys both see this movie?
I'm going to be honest. Actually, this entire month of films in this year, I don't think I saw a single film released in this time.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Yeah.
We covered 1983 recently, September 1983, and I had
that was a
yeah,
runner.
I hadn't seen anything on it.
It was just like
I'm like aware of these films, and some of these films I know through osmosis, but at this time I was deployed. I was in Afghanistan,
Right.
so there's just a lot of things that I just kind of missed out here in the States because I was
Sure.
fighting for our freedom. So unfortunately,
Right.
don't really have much to contribute in terms of these movies that I've seen, but I certainly watched these trailers, and actually I'm glad I did because this kind of reminded me I need to watch Cabin Fever.
Yeah. So tell us the plot of Cabin Fever then.
Me?
Tell us beginning, middle. Yeah. I want to hear your approximation of what this movie is about since you haven't seen it.
It's a group of young people, sure enough, in a cabin. And is this one of those
Killing it
movies
so
that's like
far.
secretly a zombie movie?
I don't want
No.
to tell you much.
Damn it.
But you also had 20 years? Is it 30 years? Don't tell me it's 30
no, it's not
years.
30.
20. It's
Thank
20. It's
Christ.
20.
It's only 20.
Thank Christ.
20 years to see it.
20 years to watch it. I kind of already spoiled it. The twist of this movie is there's nothing supernatural in it.
Oh, awesome. That's actually fucking cool as fuck.
Yeah. There's like a scary dog, which according to the DVD, and I always wonder if this was a joke, the first dog they got on set was a little poodle.
Oh.
And they tried some takes with it, and they were like, "This is not gonna work," because the dog has to be terrifying.
Yeah.
And I thought it was cute that they tried. That they were like, "Oh, let's give it a whirl." Yeah,
For what the
it's kind
dog
of
is
a-
required to do in that movie, that's pretty
It's very
surprising that they
Yeah.
tried a poodle first.
It wasn't like a poodle, but it was like that size.
Right.
It was like this little dipshit. Yeah, this is just it was, again, very neat for its time, where it's about a virus.
Yeah.
Flesh-eating virus. And it's about what that would, the panic around it. It's sort of like a mini pandemic
Yeah,
movie.
it's part body horror, part paranoia thriller. It's pretty cool. It's the coolest
And it
thing
was-
he ever made.
Yeah, it was quirky in a way we hadn't seen. I would argue, having not watched it in a while, not knowing if the humor is good anymore, I remember it was quirky in a way that felt like Jordan Peele of the time, right? Where Jordan Peele has a kind of a quirkiness, a humor injected in it, where he had a little bit of humor in it. I haven't seen this movie in a very long time. I continue to be baffled that they remade it. They did a
Verbatim, just from his
verbatim.
script. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why they did that.
That's a weird thing that
But-
happened.
Out of everything on this, let me double check. This is probably the one that I would say, yeah, watch this.
You haven't seen anything else?
Honest to God, I'm double checking. No, I genuinely don't think I had seen any of these movies. I have
That's
not seen any
awesome.
of these movies. Yeah.
All right, well, I mean, we're going to do like we did with 1983. Just imagine these are trailers coming out now.
Just
Would you
vibes.
see this movie?
Yes, absolutely. And actually, we'll get into this, but there was it's interesting the art of the trailer and
Yeah.
how it has evolved over time. That was something I was thinking about a lot watching these trailers. I don't know
yeah.
when we got rid of the movie voice guy. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
When did we finally stop using the "it was a small town and they didn't"? Where did that guy go, and when did we stop? Who was the director that was like, actually, for this trailer, don't, just not his voice?
Yeah, one thing's clear from doing the show and doing all the eras. Trailers they're never good. There's never a time they're like ads, where
right.
ads are
Yeah.
never good. But there are eras you're more nostalgic for, and there's better
Yes.
quality. And I would say this era.
This is a
of
dark
trailers
era for
isn't-
trailers.
Yeah.
They all look like sneaker commercials, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, it's a dark era for movies.
It is.
They're all lit too bright, and they're all really horror movies. Again, were just so not scary. I watched. Was that from this One Missed Call, the remake? When was that? That was 2008, which is still in this era. And I recently watched the remake of The Grudge 2, and that was 2006. And those are both like
You're on a
some
bender,
of the worst
Dave.
attempt. Yeah, I was starting to explore this era, and like the scares in that are both of those movies are some of the worst things you'd ever seen in your life. Like they're not even trying to be scary.
Perfect.
It's so weird. Like they're not even doing jump scares. Like that was what was incredible. They weren't even like making me jump from loud noises. It was just the most flaccid fucking horror. And it's just like what a terrible era. Which again is why this movie was great and why I didn't see the next movie.
Oh man, yeah. Oof.
This is Jeepers Creepers 2. There are so many reasons not to see this.
I actually forgot about Jeepers Creepers and the fact that this is like low key. I don't want to even use the term franchise, but seeing this name Jeepers Creepers, I'm like,
franchise.
Right, this is real, isn't it?
They made a
franchise of
way
like
too
blunt
recently.
forced trauma. Like
Yeah.
they just forced this into a franchise.
They made a sequel that was, I believe, written and directed by this director who is still doing movies. And I'm setting that all up because people at home who know who the director is know why that's fucked up. This director is, I believe, a convicted pedophile?
Yes.
Yeah. He made Powder, which when you watch Powder, you also go like, oh, yeah. Yeah, this was made by sex criminal. Yeah.
Actual bona fide sex criminal.
Yeah.
Victor Salva is the name of the director. I just looked him up. His Wikipedia photo is his mugshot.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's not literally his mugshot, it looks exactly like a mug. And Wikipedia, I mean, they picked the bad photo, but Jesus Christ.
If it's not his mugshot, it's not flattering.
This is a great line. Victor Salva is an American filmmaker, the self-described protege of Francis Ford Coppola. Now, that really is a sentence.
Self-described.
Self-described.
So he's just like an all-around maniac.
Yeah, by the way, no reference on the self-described protege of Francis. No link to that whatsoever. This is just what Wikipedia is reporting.
Yeah. And yeah, he super went to jail.
Yeah.
He did.
I don't know why
He's
Hollywood
still making
does
movies.
these things. Yeah.
Don't know.
I don't like. Here's the other thing. It's not like he's making good movies. Like, and I know
he's
it
making
doesn't matter.
Jeepers Creepers.
Right. It doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter if he's Roman Polanski or this. It's like he shouldn't be making movies.
Yes,
period.
agreed.
But it's weird that they're like, let's get Jeepers Creepers going. We got no one else to do it but him. And it's like, you can make it with somebody. Maybe he owns the rights, but if he owns the rights, then don't
Buy
make
them.
it. No one is like, we need Jeepers Creepers 3. We need it. Just, we're all set.
It's been a pretty silent hashtag on Twitter.
Yeah, exactly. I saw the first one, and I remember being unimpressed and never seeing another.
Yeah, I thought it was very fine, but it was one of those movies that I downloaded and watched.
Yeah.
This is in the height of piracy.
Yeah, oh yeah. It was made in 2001, the first one, and it feels like 2001. It's not very, very scary. It's about a Batman. Like, not Batman, but a Batman. Like,
a man
out
with
of the
bat
X-Files.
wings, but also he drives a truck.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the in this trailer. You see him in this trailer, and they don't not show him, and he throws like a fucking ninja star to make the bus
Stop
fire
the
spot.
bus.
And I'm like, this is not scary in
What
the
is
least
this?
bit.
It's in broad daylight.
Yeah, it's the least scary premise that you could possibly do.
It's like running
It's
at the
just-
bus like an angry horse.
Yeah. And then fucking Ray Wise shows up with a machine gun,
yeah,
and I
he
feel like
does.
I've seen the whole movie. And it looks just... I think the basic premise, like a school bus stranded, having to deal with the monster outside, that could be a good movie.
Sure.
This
Totally.
is that movie.
This is it's
You know what? Yeah. A lot of these trailers, I thought, you know what? This premise is actually pretty strong. The execution is just not.
Yeah.
It's just very 2003.
It's
Yeah,
very
again,
2003.
They're just showing him in broad daylight. And it's like, yeah, that's him.
Sure
That's
enough.
his full fucking face.
That's the creeper.
Did he buy
Yeah.
that hat? Did he walk into a store and buy that hat?
Absolutely. How could he not? It's just, man.
It's a stupid
Why
movie.
is he a scarecrow at the beginning? Did the kid put him up?
He's doing some kind of really, really obtuse gaslighting there. I don't know what his end game is. Because he had to climb his ass up there and pretend to be a scare. It's hot.
Hey, listen,
He had to replace the scarecrow.
Don't ask these questions out loud too much because this guy will hear and will say, "Oh, so we need a movie explaining between the first and the second what happened."
Right.
Yeah.
You know, you
and
guys
then
just giving
Hollywood
out.
will be like, no reason not to give you a lot of money. Let's do it.
Let's have this
Oh, well, I
sex
feel like this
criminal
guy-
make another cheaper scraper.
Yeah, this guy would scab in a moment's notice. I mean, he is dying to scab.
yeah.
I mean, if he's even still a member of any guild.
Right. I don't know. I'm not checking in with this guy
Yeah.
anytime
No.
soon. No, where are they now with this guy? Like, I don't care. Unless the answer is prison. I'm like, oh, that's probably good.
Right, yeah, unless
Right.
the answer's
Otherwise-
nearby. I don't need to know.
Yeah, exactly. Jeepers creepers, folks. That's what we're dealing with here. Let's move way
Yeah,
on.
let's just
to,
leave this in the past.
Yeah. Next is Freaky Friday.
Yeah.
This is the one they're remaking this, right?
This was a remake, too.
Yes.
Right, but they're remaking
Yeah.
it from the director of Vampire Academy
Sure.
and the Spiderwick
Are
Chronicles.
there going to be vampires that swap places?
He also directed Mean Girls. This is the director of House of Yes. So like
for
this person
this movie you're talking
started-
about? For this Freaky
Friday. Yeah, this
Okay,
Freaky Friday.
okay.
Yeah. He made the House of Yes, which is
Sure, yeah.
like I love that he made that movie, and then Hollywood was like, "Let's keep going with you." I mean, that's a good movie, but my God.
Yeah.
Yeah,
this is
and
the
also-
movie. This is the movie on the list that is probably the most egregious that I haven't seen because when this movie came out, I was the target demo for this, but I don't know. I was also going through my phase of like, girly stuff is stupid, and I want to be
Right.
a boy. So, you know,
Right, and you were also
owe-
deployed at the time, so...
right. I was
Fighting
boy, how
for
old was
America,
I?
right? For America.
Well, I don't know who's listening, but
All right.
no, I was like 11, 10. And I was
Oh,
probably
that makes
on
me
my
feel old.
No, but I mean, I'd been deployed for like a year at that point. I was
Right.
a child soldier. I'm sorry, I don't think I explained that. I was a child soldier in the
Right.
war on terror. And I'm really proud of the work that I did, but as a result, there's just a few things from childhood I missed out on, like not watching Freaky Friday.
Right, like Freaky Friday,
Yeah.
of course, yeah.
Right.
I haven't seen this. Tom, did you see it?
No, but I remember it. It was huge. This was a really big movie.
Right.
Yeah, it's
Does-
one of those movies I feel like I have seen through osmosis and like cultural
Yeah.
reference.
Right, it was
Right.
it was everywhere. It was a real big hit that summer.
Yeah, Lindsay Lohan. This is like
Yeah,
peak.
this was peak
Supernova.
Lindsay Lohan. Yeah.
Star. My God, she could do anything
Top of
at
the
this
world.
time. Yeah.
Jamie Lee Curtis switching bodies, which is, I mean, this trailer spells it all out. Like, obviously, Jamie Lee Curtis abandons the family and the younger body, and Lindsay Lohan has sex with her father in
Of
her
course,
mom's
naturally.
body.
Yeah,
Yeah.
naturally.
And Jamie Lee Curtis as an old woman is having sex with a teenager. You know, this is
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is one,
While
like-
garbage is playing.
Yeah. This is a premise that I really want to see a darker version of, and I don't mean the Vince Vaughn one that just came out. Like, I think I've said this, I feel like I've said this before. I want a version where someone takes the other body hostage and starts like sending them their own fingers and stuff. Like they're switching bodies, and it's like a body horror where the person you switch
interesting.
with is like disassembling the body or like doing like being it's like
Right,
really dark
yeah,
shit.
Yeah. Like that scene in
I know the one you're thinking of, not Jumper,
Ryan
but
Looper. Yep. Ryan Johnson. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's so they I assume they see eye to eye by the end, and she plays her band for her. And
That's
then
what it looks like. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it was everybody seemed to like it, you know. Jamie Lee Curtis
I'm
is
sure-
great. I'm sure
I'm
this
sure it's
movie
a lot
is
of fun.
pretty good.
Oh, yeah. This honestly, when I was watching the trailer, I was like, okay, now that I'm older and I am not fighting a war, and I'm also not taking myself as seriously as I did back when I was 10 or 11, I should watch this movie.
Yeah, I had watched at the same time 13 Going on 30, and these are both movies that aren't for me, you know, demograph wise, but like I remember that one being a delight, being like, oh, Jennifer Garner's doing a great job.
Oh yeah, I
you
remember.
know,
I
this
liked
is-
that one.
Yeah.
And
I
so
haven't seen
I
it
think,
in probably 20 years, but
no, same here, yeah. but it's like
Cute.
it's cute. Cute's the word for it, right?
Cute,
That's what
nice,
it's-
breezy, 90 minutes, maybe just shy of 2 hours, just really easy. This is the kind of
Yeah.
movie that I would watch at like 11 a.m. on a Sunday when I don't have anything else going on. And it's
Oh,
kind of like, you
yeah.
know what? Let me just like cuddle up to a movie I haven't seen, but is also like for smooth brain moments.
Easy. Easy.
Let's just put some eyes on a movie that is entertaining. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, it's like an easy Mac.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah. This next film gives me that too because it is. I did not realize who directed this. This is from the director of Clue, Nuns on the Run, My Cousin Vinny, Sergeant Bilko, The Whole Nine Yards. This is The Fighting Temptations. Which,
And also, watching this trailer, I thought I should watch this movie, and why haven't I seen this movie yet?
yeah, they also wrote most of their. They didn't write this actually, but they wrote Clue. This is like. I'm like, why haven't I seen this? This is big city guy goes to a small town to do a sister act. Like that's of course.
Basically, he has to like, in order to inherit this money, Cuba Gooding Jr. has to put together like a gospel choir.
Yeah, and he's got Beyonce.
And he's got
there.
Beyonce,
I wonder
so he's got a
I wonder
pretty
if
good head
she'll
start,
Sing good.
yeah.
Yeah. And it's Cuba Gooding Jr. back when, like, after Jerry Maguire, we were
When
like,
they were
he can't
still
lose.
billing him as Academy Award winner.
Oh
Yeah,
my God,
he
seriously.
certainly won't do Boat Trip. His career is ahead of him. It just looks like a lot of fucking stupid fun. Also, Wendell Pierce is there. Which
He sure
made
is.
me
Yeah,
happy.
Bunk.
Made me very
Fantastic.
happy.
Yeah, this is one of those trailers that I was like, you know what? You could make this like not a remake, but this premise, like I bet this would do really well today, actually.
You could make this film every 5 years since the 60s.
Hey, yeah, I mean, just about.
Yeah, just keep
I
making
think they
it.
probably
I don't give a shit.
have.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Keep going.
actually.
Make it. I mean, again, this is a little sister acty because it's small town or big city guy goes to small town and is like, pshaw, stupid small town, and then he's gonna learn.
You small town fools.
Right.
And that's all the movies, right? That's like every fucking movie. It's just like what is the lubricant we will create in order to deliver that into you? And this time it's he has to put together a choir.
Yeah.
Look, any film that ends with a climax of a gospel choir having a big musical number, I will suffer nearly any movie just to get to that. And this does not
Yeah.
seem like a movie I would have to suffer.
No, it seems like a lot of dumb
fun.
fun.
Yeah. I remember this one too.
Touching. Cute.
Like, I didn't see this one, but it was like a big movie at that month. Like the trailers were everywhere, and
Right.
Definitely.
I should remember it, and I absolutely don't.
I had forgotten about it until you put the trailer on this list. It was like a real it's a real jump scare for me.
Yeah, you're like, holy
Like a
shit.
period of my life that's completely blacked out of my brain.
Yeah.
It's like, oh right,
Well.
this movie.
It's like a high school reunion.
Yeah.
God damn, this next film.
Oh,
this
yeah.
film I
This
remember
is
because we
not
watched it
real.
recently.
This is not a real movie. You guys are fucking with me with
Oh
this.
no,
I'm
this
never
isn't.
into
This is
is
such a real film.
It's real and it's wonderful.
you're joking.
This is Peter
I didn't realize-
Berg's The Rundown. Go on.
I was just gonna say I didn't realize Dwayne Johnson's on-film career is over 20 years old.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
This was like, it wasn't like his first movie. Like his first one was The Scorpion King, but like this was
Yeah.
I think a year later, and
Well,
it was like
The Mummy 2, technically. and
right,
then
but like
Scorpion
Scorpion King was like his first starring role, and this is the one that was like really supposed to be like, okay, this is him.
We're
starting
launching a
his
movie
action
star,
career.
yeah.
Yeah. Then like there's literally
Yeah.
a scene where he walks past Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Arnold says, "Have fun." To him.
It's also Peter Berg's first film since Very Bad Things, which,
man.
yeah, that was
Peter
90.
Berg.
Oh, no, it was 98, so
98.
it wasn't that. It wasn't that.
It's 5 years.
5 years, yeah.
It also has Rosario Dawson in it. Like
Yeah.
a really early role for Rosario Dawson. Christopher Walken with incredible hair.
That hair, I've seen this movie recently. I still gasp every time I see it in this.
You know what? He was rocking
It's-
kind of a fucked up hair in Joe Dirt. So
Yeah.
I was a little bit more prepared to handle the fact that that was Christopher Walken's hair. I was just still struggling with Dwayne Johnson, honestly. I was like, oh, right. I guess You've been around for a longer time than
yeah.
I maybe have appreciated.
It's funny
Dude,
how much
Sean William
smaller
Scott.
he is in this movie. Like,
Oh,
he's
yeah.
not small by any means.
He's like a regular
but like,
guy.
compared to how huge he is now, it's like, oh, man.
Comically. Yeah.
God, he was a few years away from Southland Tales. Oh man.
Just a couple precious years,
Go
Dave.
watch. If you haven't seen that movie, see that movie. If you want to lose your goddamn mind over, it's The Rock doing, I guess, a art house drama / comedy
Where he's kind of
It's,
playing Bugs Bunny. It's from
yeah.
the director
He's-
of Donnie Darko. It's a
Yes, it's his
Oh.
second film.
very, very famous swing and miss from this
Yes.
director.
Yeah, it is fucking wild. But it's back
I
when
love
The Rock
it.
was
It's out
like,
of its mind, but yeah.
I know, I love it for the novelty, but it's like, it's back when The Rock was like, what kind of an actor am I going to be? I can do action. In the rundown, doesn't he famously have a scene with Schwarzenegger in this one?
Yeah, I mentioned it a second ago. It's the
Yeah.
opening scene where he's walking into a nightclub and Arnold's walking past him. It's just a quick cameo, but
It's the
Yeah.
passing of the torch.
yeah, Arnold says, "Have fun."
And of course, Arnold did some weird movies too. So I could see the Rock. You know, he was like,
Yeah.
let's try something different. He did Southland Tales, and he was like, I'm never going to do something different again. That's it for me.
Yep.
Yeah, only mainstream stuff that makes money, sweetheart. Skip me with the
Yeah.
bullshit.
But
It's
yeah,
gonna be Rampage from here on out.
yeah. Him and Sean William Scott, they were good in this.
Yeah, I actually really like this movie. You should watch this movie, Sarah.
Yeah, you'd
I
like this
just
movie.
heard about its existence a few moments ago, so I must seek this out.
It's pretty.
Right.
It's pretty fun. The Rock fights a guy that has two whips. Like he just has two.
Yeah.
He's a
Okay,
whip
but
guy.
realistically, do you think this is available on any streaming platform to stream or rent? Like, where would I
I'm
even
sure it
find
We
will be,
watched
yeah.
it recently. We watched it fairly recently.
Oh, okay.
On movie night, yeah.
Maybe Tubi.
Christopher Walken, I remember he could be on Tubi. Everything's on Tubi.
Yeah,
Christopher Walken is...
he's got a real 2B haircut.
Yeah, I feel he's barely in this.
He's not in it that much.
Yeah. He's
despite
also-
being the bad guy, the primary antagonist. Yeah.
Right. Christopher Walken is also one of those guys where if someone told me he was 99, I'd say, oh, okay. If someone told me he was 60, I'd be like, oh, okay.
Sure, yeah, that makes
like,
sense.
I'm not quite sure how old. I know he's old, but I'm not quite sure how old.
He and
Like
Buscemi.
Patrick Stewart.
Yeah. There's just some of those actors. They're all men, but there's some of those actors that are like, boy, any age over 50, I would buy.
Yeah, I'm not
I feel like
sure.
you're hiding 20 years in there somewhere.
Tommy Lee Jones is another one where it's like he's
Right.
certainly old. He's always been old.
He could be 65. He could be 102.
Yeah, not sure.
No idea.
Right.
And he's looked that way his entire career.
Yeah.
No one could
Tommy
ever
Lee
know,
Jones.
actually.
Not even gonna look it up. Oh man, the rundown. This next one, I barely remember.
I remember
and
this one.
My fucking god, this is Dickie Roberts, former child star.
Yeah, this is an early David Spade.
One of my
led
favorite
Vehicle?
actors in this time, David Spade. This like early 2000s David Spade. My God, I fucking love David Spade. Didn't see this movie, but
I mean, top 10 in September,
Yeah.
so it must have been. But this is fucking Adam Sandler going like, okay,
Right.
here's yours, don't fuck it up. And then he did. He fucked it up.
I mean, this trailer is, there are no joke. I mean, every joke
No,
falls so flat in this trailer.
So here's the thing, and I said it in the notes. David Spade is best as either the villain, like in PCU, like sniveling, "Eh," or he is sidekick to Chris Farley, who slowly learns to be slightly less of an asshole, right?
I think
But
he
he's-
can also do like the Joe Dirt, where he can also play like a fool.
I was gonna
yeah.
say not too much on
Yeah,
my man
Joe
Joe Dirt.
Yeah.
Joe Dirt, yeah, he did good with Joe Dirt, but for the most
he does
part,
manage to play a completely different character there.
Emperor's New Groove. But in that
Emperor's
one,
New
he is also
Groove.
he's kind of a dick in that.
Yeah, right. It's a David Spade character in Emperor's New Groove.
Right, and it's a hard character to do because most of the time his thing is I'm an asshole, and this trailer is just him being just a screeching asshole to every single person, and it's implied, I'm sure, like most movies, he's going to have growth in an arc. I don't care. This movie is like, how would you like to spend 2 hours with this incredibly unlikable character.
We were
And I'm like,
talking-
absolutely not.
You were talking earlier about how this is a dark time for horror. This is also kind of a dark time for comedy because comedies were all imitating American Pie and Road Trip at this point.
Yes. I recall Super
mainstream
Trooper
comedies,
coming out. Super Troopers was like a fucking just a ray of sunshine and is a fucking stormy day. I remember when that came out. That and Undercover Brother. It being like, finally, this is fucking comedy. Yeah, I mean, Joe Dirt was 2001.
Yeah.
Yeah, this David Spade was in his bag in like I feel like this stretch of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had this is a top 10 movie in September of 2003. So he was still.
But how did fare for the rest of the year? Again, I was a child overseas at the time, but I feel like I remember this movie being like a flop, considered a flop, or I mean, maybe like you guys are saying, people point to this as being like this was the end of David Spade's film career as like a main character star.
I'll say it is one of those times where this movie could only get on a top 10 list if it came out in September
of 2003. Yeah.
Like, that's it. It's just a dark time. This was like, I mean, we had just had a few years earlier, The Master of Disguise. Like, that's the era we're at.
Right.
That was like 2002, I want to say.
We had just had the worst Austin Powers movie.
Yeah. Comedy and horror were at its worst. Basically, all the energy in Hollywood felt like it was being directed into 3 Lord of the Rings films, and it sucked out the good of anything else around it.
Hey,
It was just 3 Lord of the Rings
Everyone
films just
else's
eating.
creativity just imploded in that time.
Yeah.
it's like, God, I can't write for shit. What's the matter with me? I keep dreaming that I'm in New Zealand. What's going on?
Right. It's amazing. The early 2000s were like, here's a bunch of the worst things you've ever seen and 3 of the best movies ever made and nothing in between.
Love it, baby.
Yeah. Just
man, what a
fucking
time to be
mess.
alive.
But this was another premise that I was like, oh my God, I bet like Rachel Sennott, A24, like with the right kind of like indie alt comedy people behind this, you could make like this premise actually would probably slay today, but again, like in the right hands.
Yeah, in the right hands.
Yeah.
Not these hands.
Love you, David Spade.
Yeah. It's not yours. This didn't work.
Not this
Yeah,
one,
this,
but other ones, yes.
Man, this trailer is repellent.
Yeah.
Really bad.
It's like
Also,
anti-comedy.
Talk about a trailer that just kind of holds your hand and walks you through the trailer. Like the first half of the trailer, I'm like, okay, this is like a movie trailer. And then the second half of the trailer, I was like, oh my God, is this... I always describe movies like this where I feel like one movie is 2 movies in one. Where it's like, oh, so the first half of the movie, so we're like on this, and now we like when he's like moving in with the family, I was like, oh, we're still
Yeah, that's a real.
we're still in the trailer. We're still
That was a real
showing this.
curve. That was a real
It's
curve.
like hats on hats,
Yeah.
right? Where it's like we're still forming the premise of the movie.
It's like if the
it's
first half
so
of the
weird.
trailer didn't get you, maybe it's a family comedy, you know? I don't know. Buy a
Right.
ticket and you'll find out.
Yeah. Speaking of hats on hats, you guys ready to talk about this next trailer?
Can't wait to talk about
Yes.
this trailer, Dave.
This is the trailer to Secondhand Lions.
Secondhand Lions,
Now-
Dave.
This is from the writer of The Iron Giant.
Mm-hmm.
It's right after that. So they were like, give us anything. This is what he gave them. This is also from the era where Hollywood was like, we got this Haley Joel kid.
Yeah.
He's great in The Sixth Sense. He's got 5 good years in him. We know
Right.
it. We know it. Let's
He's got
make him
5
the richest.
cute years left in him.
Yeah. Let's make him the richest motherfucker in the world. Let's throw every fucking movie at him. And they did. And this was one of them. And
Yeah.
I've never seen this
It's
movie,
about,
and I
like,
don't know why.
Haley
I'm
Joel.
I've never
actually-
seen it.
Yeah, I'm actually glad to see this trailer on the list because this trailer was on a VHS. It was like played before the movie I actually wanted to see. So I actually remember this trailer as like the first 5 minutes of it being like, let me hit pause and then fast forward and get to the movie I actually want to see. And for many years,
Yep.
I had been thinking like, isn't there some Haley Joel Osment movie where he's like on a farm with 2 old people? And I could never piece it together. It's this one, Secondhand Lions.
Yeah. It feels like this movie is made to be a trailer. Like, it
Yes.
only exists as a trailer.
I've seen it, and it sort of plays out like that, too.
You're
Like,
a
it's not-
liar,
Yeah.
Tom. There's no way this is a feature-length film.
I have seen this movie. My parents owned this movie on DVD.
Michael Caine doing a southern
Michael
accent.
Caine and Robert Duvall playing brothers, Dave.
Yeah, that's why I'm looking at this and I'm like, I was an idiot to never see this in theaters. How could I not watch Michael Caine and Robert Duvall play grumpy Southern bank robbers? That's amazing.
Yeah, it's something else. It's
They don't explain anything. Is this based off a book?
I don't think so.
feels
No, I
like
think it was
it.
written directly for the screen by the the director. I think.
It's got based off a book face.
It definitely feels like an early 2000s paperback children's book that I would read haphazardly, like in my school's library. Like, I guess.
Yeah, like a book you'd be made to read in school.
Right.
Yeah.
It feels,
Cider House
feels like the Whipping Boy or something.
Yeah,
like it has like a
it's got-
Caldecott medal on the front.
It's got like Cider House
Yes.
Rules vibes, where Cider House Rules feels like you hear that name and you're like, I don't know what the fuck that's about. Like, I'm gonna have to see it to understand it. And this one, Secondhand Lions, right away you're like, what? And then the trailer barely explains why they bought Secondhand Lions. They kind of don't.
The lion, in my memory, it's not even that big of a part of the story. Like it's
doesn't
just
feel like
one
in
of
the
the
trailer.
random
It's a cool
hijinks that
name.
these two old men do. Yeah, it's a pretty
Yeah.
good title.
The original, so the premise when you stripped it down seemed to be like Haley Joel has to live with these two old cranky men. They don't have TV. Everything sucks. Takes place either in the 30s or modern. There's no way to know.
It looks
No
like
way.
the 50s, I think.
It looks like the 50s, yeah. And so it's like, oh, okay, Haley Joel, two cranky men, he has to teach them to love. And then he learns that they were bank robbers. And I'm like, cool, that's a movie. You got a movie. And they're like, also, they fly planes. Also, they get like circus animals. And it was like, okay, now I don't know what this is. You've officially fucked me up, movie.
Yeah, also, Haley Joel in the trailer, vocally, his voice is like, not popping, squeaking. What is it when cracking?
Cracking.
What is the word I'm looking for? Is it cracking?
I think,
Yeah.
you think the producers are like hearing him and be like, man, we got a
We gotta
couple
film
more
this
films.
quick. We gotta film this
Yeah,
quick.
I guess I just as an actor, I was like, I would hope that even in a in between puberty voice that they would not pick the scenes where I'm like, but Uncle Jerry, I'm gonna like it did not sound good.
Uncle Jerry.
And Haley
Yeah.
Joel, by the way, is at this point an Oscar-nominated actor, and actually, funnily enough, he lost his Oscar to Michael Caine. So I wonder if they talked about that on set.
Man. Yeah.
Drama.
I mean, they do the thing where they're like, we're not going to give it to some shitty kid, right? He'll have time. And by the way, I love where Haley Joel, I love that he's been in an X-Files episode since, and he's in fucking What We Do in the Shadows.
Dude, I'm like a sleeper Haley Joel Osment stan. Like, I think he seems so... I don't know, like he acted, he did his thing, and then he went to college for some time, and then he came back, he's like, I could be on a few sitcoms, fuck it.
Right,
Yeah.
his bit in
Well, he's
Always
like-
Sunny was great.
Yeah, he's like, I did a horror film. I got fucking stabbed and killed in another film.
Right.
And you know what?
Man, pay it forward.
Yeah, I'm in a Spielberg film that is also slightly a Kubrick film. I'm in as much of a Kubrick film as I can be.
Right.
Because, he's dead. And then it's like Secondhand Lions, and he's like, you know what? We're good. Like, he still worked after this, obviously, but he did like video games and TV and this was the
yes.
last like big movie he did for, it looks like this happened, and then he was in Kingdom Hearts. And then it's just like TV that looks like voice acting. He does a lot of voice acting, and then it's just sort of it peters out, and it looks like it was more of like he did it on purpose, where he's just
Yeah,
like, yeah,
totally.
that's-
It's like he and Josh Hutcherson are like two child actors from this time. I mean, Josh Hutcherson not as big as Haley Joel, obviously, but they're two guys that like I low key am like, I think you guys are very cool, and you like act when you want to act, and you don't act when you don't want to act, and like I'm sure if you guys wanted to force your way into a bunch of shit projects, you could, but neither one of you ever really do that. So good for
Right.
you.
And Haley Joel's probably like, well, I'm stupid rich, so like,
Yeah,
Right, like you
between
pointed
him and
out, he's got,
sister
like,
Emily
nothing else to
Osment,
prove.
It's like I'm
Yeah.
I'm good.
yeah, I'm good to go. I can just
There's-
be in a Kevin Smith film. It's being Tusk.
Oh, hell yeah, he is. There's something about this film that I really want to spoil.
Yeah.
Do you guys care if I spoil Secondhand Lions?
I want to spend the next 2 hours you just telling us what
Yeah,
this
I'm
movie
never
is.
gonna watch this movie, so please.
So you know how they're like doing their wacky plane hijinks in the trailer?
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
1000% die in a plane crash.
Is it that scene?
No, it's not that scene, but they do crash that plane and die. Like
That's
how they
amazing.
die. Yes.
And
That's
that's
because
the
the
end of the
trailer-
movie?
Moment in the film. It's at the end of the movie, yeah.
A
Haley
trailer
Joel's
is
all
like,
grown up, and he hears that they crashed their fucking biplane
holy shit.
into like a barn or
great.
something and died.
Chekhov's plane.
Holy fucking
It's
shit.
a wild
yeah, because
way to end the film.
they do this part in the trailer where he's like, "You less meat, more vegetables," and he's like, "What are we gonna die of? Old age?" And the implication is like they're putting aside their wild, fucking background, and they're gonna calm
That's
down.
the
And
point.
now you're telling
that's
me
what he
they
wants
do not.
them to do. But eventually, when he grows up and moves away, they go back to their old
It wasn't,
adventurous ways.
It wasn't 9/11, was it? Did they 9/11?
They might have 9/11 the barn they crashed into. I'm not
Oh,
sure.
Yeah.
I can't remember. They may have been wanting to take it out.
Yeah, that is wild. This movie. So, is it just a series of like vignettes? Like, I'm living
Essentially,
with these guys.
yeah, as far as I remember, it's been a while since I've seen it. But as I remember, it is kind of just like it kind of just moves from one of the two uncles' wacky hijinks to another.
Okay.
All right.
It's not bad.
I'll watch it.
You know, it's
No,
a
we're-
perfect. It's like Now You See Me in terms of it is a movie that is crafted for you to watch with your parents.
Yeah, listen, Tom, me and you, I think we're going to watch it not on a movie night, and we're not going to speak the whole time. That's my plan.
Right, we're just going to quietly watch Secondhand Lions.
Yeah.
Just a
I
quiet,
want that.
cozy evening. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk about Matchstick Men. This was a movie that I had in my mind thought this was a movie that no one talks about, and I in my mind I thought of it as like a cult classic. And now I'm realizing it was one of the top movies when it came out. This is Ridley Scott.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
doing a film
blown
that's
away.
very not Ridley Scott. Yeah.
I don't really know this movie. I think of the title rings a bell, but this trailer, I mean, this was like brand new to me. And so when that name came up, I was like, oh, wait,
Wow.
what is this?
It's Nicolas Cage and Sam Rockwell both doing impressions of Nicolas Cage and Sam Rockwell. Like they're doing the most them. Sam Rockwell's doing I'm Sam Rockwell, I'm dancing. Nicolas Cage is doing
Definitely.
I'm Nicolas Cage, I'm freaking out. And they play con men, and Nicolas Cage gets a call and from this ex who says, "You have a daughter." And he basically goes and starts meeting this daughter and welcoming her into his life, and she starts working on cons with him, and he kind of regrets it. And that's the most I'll say about the film.
Okay.
Because there's a lot more to the film than that. I think this movie is very good. I haven't watched it in a while though.
I haven't seen it. Weirdly.
No shit.
Yeah.
I'm so
yeah,
glad
this-
I'm not
this-
saying
this
anything
one
else.
This one just escaped me for whatever reason. But I will say that the trailer is pretty insufferable for movies of this era, where it's really like they're really going for like the like autistic genius thing with
I was
Nicolas
about to
Cage,
say Nicolas
like magic
Cage
autism.
has-
Yeah,
He has-
I
I
thought
think
that's what
he
they were
has-
implying, that he had some kind of like. I thought it was maybe Tourette's or OCD.
He has-
where,
yes.
Yeah.
He's an agoraphobic in it, and
Got
he
it.
is, and so that's part of the idea is that it's kind of What About Bob, which is he meets this young girl, and she's sort of like has to take him out of his comfort zone, right? Like he has to be less. Like she makes a mess in his house. Like he's a neat freak. He's very OCD. I believe it's OCD is what they give him.
it, yeah.
Like he does the thing where he like keeps closing the door 3 times and shit like that. And it is. It's definitely like that's the one part watching this. So I'm like, is that still okay?
I'm not.
Like
It's not
the
a
movie
comment on
feels
the film so much as just the trailer itself. They're pushing it like as being like quirky or like really twee
Right.
about it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Like,
there's
I
a
don't
levity
like
to
that.
it.
Yeah, that doesn't feel good.
it's definitely of its time. Like
Yeah.
this is one of those movies where it's gonna feel the way an '80s movie feels really '80s because they're like using like. Like Home Alone, where he has the talk boy, like where it's stuff like that. Like this, there's a lot of computers involved. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of out in the world, going to airports. So it like you can definitely feel the time it's in because it's so much in there. And I'm wondering if the tone is also of its time. But I haven't seen it in a while. All I can say is it has a kind of a plot hole in it, but it's not noticeable. I wrote about it at Cracked, and it's generally, I recall, a pretty good movie. Like I enjoyed it. I don't know how good it is anymore. What Because
yeah.
again, this was me in 2003, and a lot of other things and movies have happened since. So I don't know how much it holds up. Kind of want to watch it again now.
Yeah, I kind of need to watch
I would
this
watch
movie.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, it's a very interesting little time capsule, you know? Like, it's Nicolas Cage in his try era, where he's like, I'm making movies, you know? I'm making a Ridley Scott movie.
I'm still
Sam Rockwell,
giving it a shot.
Yeah, I
Was
think
this
Sam Rockwell
total
had...
financial ruin?
Yeah,
I think so. It's and then it's Sam Rockwell kind of on the up, right? He's not...
Yeah, he was hot in this era for sure.
Yeah. So like,
I think this is right after
it's,
Confessions of a Dangerous Mind.
Yes, that's the one. It's definitely right after that. So like, yeah, it's the writer of Ocean's 11, one of the remake, one of the writers, and Ravenous, apparently. So that's something.
Ah, sweet. I love Ravenous.
And that's what I mean is like, it was at the time, it felt like a very smart movie. And now I'm wondering, like, how smart was it, though? You know, that's what I'm curious about. But I'll have to see it again.
Yeah, I'll have to give it a watch.
I can't believe neither of you seen Matchstick Men. It's wild.
Just pass me by,
Again,
man.
this whole era, I was deployed. That's just a part of culture I'm missing.
But surely you have seen our next film, Underworld.
I have not. I have absolutely
Son
not
of a-
seen this
You
movie.
haven't
I've not
seen Underworld?
Absolutely not. In what context would I ever be like, you know what?
They made
really
many of these.
So
And I
many.
didn't watch any of them. Fuck Underworld. No, I don't know. Maybe it's good. I just haven't seen it.
Oh, it's absolutely
director-
not good.
This director is like, it reminds me of
Len
like,
Wiseman, right? He went on to make Die Hard.
yeah, he's like G.G. Allen for movies for me. He started with Underworld, and then he made Live Free or Die Hard, the Total Recall remake, and it's just like, it feels like he's already done. He barely started, he's already done, and what a ride. Not great, not a great ride, but he left his mark, and that mark is
The craziest
Underworld.
thing about looking at this trailer, the craziest thing about looking at this trailer is that the werewolf dude in the trailer is Michael Sheen.
Yeah.
Oh my God. There
Yeah.
was a few faces that popped up in the trailer that I was like, my God, you're in this.
Oh yeah, like Bill Nye or Nee, however you pronounce his
Yeah.
name. He's in
Nahi,
it.
I believe, yeah.
Scott Speedman, not so much, but
Yeah.
like Michael Sheen was the really shocking one because I had completely forgotten he was in this movie.
Yeah, that's he this was the era where he's like, I'm a fancy vampire man, is essentially because he was in fucking Twilight.
No, well he's he's the werewolf in this one.
I know, doesn't matter.
Oh right,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, because that's the vibe. He's a fancy vampire
Yeah,
man.
sure.
So is Bill Nighy, who is also, I believe, in several movies.
He's the fanciest vampire in this movie.
Yeah. But whenever you needed like supernatural, this era, the Blade era, where you're like, we need fancy vampire
this
types.
is the Blade era. You nailed
Yeah,
it.
you call upon those two actors. That's just who you call upon. They just feel that way. This movie sucks from what I remember, but I want to watch it again. I have the shortest loop with this movie, and what I mean by that is I watch it, I go, that was boring and sucked, and then like 6 months later, I'm like,
I should
I
watch
could
it.
use watching. Yeah, I should watch Underworld.
It's kind of fun. I haven't seen it in like 20 years. I'm sorry, Sarah. What were you
No,
saying?
we watched this on movie night, Tom.
Oh, we did. That's right.
No, I was
We
just
will
very
again.
concerned because I saw a man named Danny McBride credited with the screenplay, and it's actually
Yeah.
a different Danny McBride. I was going to be like,
Would have been incredible.
I was like, is this like an M. Night Shyamalan wrote Stuart Little situation where it's like,
Yeah.
oh, curveball, actually, I wrote
Right.
this. No.
I believe the same writer went on to write I, Frankenstein, and that they were both supposed to take place in the same universe.
Oh, Jesus
Yeah.
Christ, dude.
Yeah,
So
hell yeah.
good.
That's the
What a
MCU
fucking
we deserve.
legacy this person has.
What a footprint, yeah.
They wrote all the Underworlds, including Blood Wars from 2016. We were making these in 2016.
I told
know
you,
that's
we
a while
kept
ago.
making these.
No, and
Yeah.
I almost feel like a new Underworld is in development, or maybe not anymore.
It has
But
to
this
be,
is just
yeah.
this is just that and Resident fucking Evil. These are the two movies that
I
are
was
just
about to say,
every 5 years or so, we legally have to make another one of these.
Yeah,
I mean, Kate
this movie and Resident Evil just fucking.
Kate Beckinsale has to put food on her plate somehow. My God, keep this woman employed.
Yeah, let her kick some werewolves.
Yeah, it felt like a game of chicken between those two series.
I feel like Resident Evil was even worse though, because it was more than like every 5 years let's make one. I feel like 5 years would pass and then all of a sudden like they would have made 3 Resident Evils in that time. I'm like, where did they come from?
Yeah. Well, because they overlap, right? There's the main series, but then they'll reboot it. They did the Raccoon City, Welcome to Raccoon City, and then they do like the weird CGI ones. Beckinsale, by the way, was also in Van Helsing.
She sure
so
was.
So people looked at her and they're like, we want you in like a creepy
Sure, she has angular cheekbones. She looks kind of vampiric.
Yeah, and this is the world the Matrix left us.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to.
This is the cost we paid for the Matrix.
You know,
we've had the Matrix.
Honestly, it looks cool, and of all the trailers we watched, this is the one that actually made me say kind of like, hell yeah, dude, this is Y2K action filmmaking. Yes.
Oh man, it is maximum aughts.
Latex,
this is a
skinny,
hell
pale
yeah
people,
trailer
techno.
for sure. Yes.
It's Blade.
I was stoked on this movie when it came out. I shan't lie.
Oh yeah, I remember laughing at it because they called them lichens.
It's goofy and over the top, but I was like, it was pretty fun, you know.
Yeah, because I'd worked in a movie theater, so it's all these cynical movie nerds working there, and so we're all getting a laugh out of it. But it's not like we all didn't watch it too.
Right, it's Underworld.
It's Underworld.
How are you not going to watch Underworld? Look at it.
About the world. It was one of those where it's like it's weird that we hadn't done this yet. A war between, like, it felt so novel. Like, oh, that's so silly. Vampires versus werewolves. And it's like, that's so obvious now when you think about it. It was boldly
silly. I think that's one of the things I liked about it was it just so earnestly did it. It was like, it's dumb, but we're just going to do it. Like, fuck it. Let's just be serious about it. And everybody's so serious in Underworld.
10 years later, one of the biggest fucking books and TV books and films on Earth is Vampires, Werewolves. So Underworld kind of ahead of its time.
We should watch it. We should watch Underworld.
We should do that again.
Yeah, I see. This is what I mean. I also, unlike, I want it to have a Resident Evil in the sense that I want to see a gritty reboot where they are like, now this time it's really like where they like
this time it's
where they try
really
to make it,
for serious.
Yeah, which is funny because this is also the same with Resident Evil. That first one was still serious, but it's funny that it gets rebooted to be even more serious and more gritty. I want to see that with this, right? I don't even know how they do that. They'd be
use more computers. I don't know.
Yeah, it'd be more. It would be like they're not in all leather, right? They're dressed more sensibly. Like it would be little things like that that they'd have to do.
Oh yeah, they'd be more hip.
Yeah, and then we'd all laugh
Dress
at that
them all
movie.
in fashion that instantly dates them.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch.
That's a great idea
again.
for a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
An
guys
immediately dated Underworld reboot.
Yeah.
Again,
you're not gonna watch Underworld?
You guys are talking about Underworld too much. They're listening. They're ready to make another
true.
one. They are listening, so careful.
That's true. That's true.
Be so careful.
Watch what we say. Yeah.
You know what really fucks me up?
What's that?
Is when in like 10 years from now they start making retro throwback films that look like this. That's going to really fuck with me.
Oh, wow.
Where it's like, nostalgia for 2003. It's already starting, I feel like.
It's like barely an identifiable style.
Yeah. We got one more here. This is number 1, September 2003. Once Upon a Time in Mexico. This is Robert Rodriguez, the final of the trilogy, the Desperado El Mariachi trilogy. And this trailer kind of offended me because they really want you to think it's a movie starring Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
Even the announcer talks about the movie from his perspective.
He's a CIA agent who's trying to find the Desperado.
I remember seeing this trailer and having to be told later that it was the third one because nothing about this says like it's like at first glance it doesn't feel like it's
Yeah, he kind of made all 3 of them to sort of be independent while still being trilogies. Like because Desperado is complete. You don't have to have seen El Mariachi.
Yeah. And I mean, it's a good movie. I remember it.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. It does have Willem Dafoe in brownface.
Literally about to say the same thing.
Yeah, you guys were freaked out about Christopher Walken's hair. Let's talk about Willem Dafoe's fake tan. Like this isn't just like a hat and a mustache. No, they changed the color of his skin. I bet he has a terrible Mexican accent, too.
Can you imagine
sure does.
being Willem Dafoe, which I don't feel bad for Willem Dafoe, but can you imagine being Willem Dafoe showing up on set with that shit and having to go face to face with Danny Trejo, who just like furrows his brow at you? Like, what the fuck are you doing, man?
Yeah, I can imagine. I actually love Willem Dafoe, and I read this like actor profile on him, and I can imagine like Dafoe probably like very earnestly like played this part. This is just something that like with 2023 eyes is like, oh brother, not you today. You would not even get the call. It's like, yeah, there's like this Mexican gangster type role, and you know what I'm saying? Like casting wouldn't even get that far.
What I'll say is that Robert Rodriguez is usually like, he works very independently, right? He literally like did special effects out of his garage for his movies.
Oh, yeah.
Even at this era, Spy Kids was doing, and he is of Mexican descent. This is a lot of people of Mexican descent on set, I imagine, because that's his production company. So like, I can't really excuse it, but I imagine they brought Willem Dafoe on and they were just like, yeah, fuck it. Like, we're just gonna do this.
You know, yeah, I guess it's like,
and Willem Dafoe's like, they're slathering that shit on him, and he's like, I it doesn't absolve Willem Dafoe, but I'm sure in the moment he was like, this is probably okay, right? Everybody around me is
yeah,
from
it's
Mexico
like, oh, you guys are
or
cool with
Mexican
it.
descent. Like, I guess it's all right.
It's
and
so
then,
weird what we just like. Because we didn't really think it was weird. Like it's
at the time we didn't think about it at
We
all.
didn't
Well, I
think
guess that's
at all.
fine.
Did not think about it at all. We didn't think about it.
Yeah. It's wild, the things, and we still, I think to some extent it depends on, like, you know, like there's always these holdouts. Like obviously it was like blackface. No, that's terrible. But then like this was in an era where like we wouldn't have accepted blackface.
Right.
And we're
Return
like,
of the
this is
King
fine.
came
or
out
like
this
Native
year.
Americans.
Like, this is pretty
yeah.
recent.
Yeah.
Or like, yeah, that fucking that the Mexican one with what's her name?
Huh?
Scarlett Johansson, like
Oh
in
my
like tan
God,
makeup, and they're all like,
yes.
"Hey, we're Mexican," and it's like that was one of the last ones where it's like, "This, I don't know about this anymore." Like it's just funny how we didn't at once go, "Well, this is bad, so they all should be bad, right?" And we didn't make that decision, which is very funny to me.
Yeah.
They were like, "This other stuff is fine."
Maybe.
This
movie's
movie
pretty
rules.
cool.
Yeah,
Oh, looks cool.
I mean,
Even though it has
Robert
Johnny
Rodriguez-
Depp and on
Yeah.
top of Willem Dafoe and Brown James.
Yeah, no, it's a hard movie to watch now. It's got Mickey Rourke. That he's fun in it.
Yeah,
it's got
that's
Cheech.
right. Cheech is in it. Yeah, Cheech is in all of them, I think. Well, he's at
yeah,
least in
it's-
Desperado as well. I can't remember if he's in Mariachi.
It's Mickey Rourke in the era where he was in Sin City as well, and he had the wrestler yet, so he didn't have the quote unquote like comeback. This is a movie I haven't watched in a while. I'm sure it's ridiculously problematic, but it's teenage boy cool without being like I would say this about the whole series is that it's like this is what a teenage boy thinks is cool, but somehow isn't like cringy as an adult. Does that make sense? Where it's like, ooh, he has a flamethrower in his guitar case.
Right, it's
Oh,
over
he's so
it's
cool.
over the top, but I think in the correct way.
It knows that's what.
Yeah,
it
like
is.
Robert
It
Rodriguez,
knows
he's a very good filmmaker, so he's able to do this tone, and he's done it. He does it in almost all of his movies.
Yeah.
It's tongue in cheek. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a tongue in cheek version of.
So it's like cartoonish reality. It's like a cartoonish action movie.
Yeah, and they always were. El Mariachi was.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah. By the
Sarah,
way,
you
you know,
haven't seen any of these?
there's a new Spy Kids series coming to Netflix. I just saw.
I saw that. And,
I
the
saw-
internet
I mean,
already talked about.
Yeah, I saw
biggest downgrade.
a billboard of it on a bus stop is what I mean when I said saw.
Yeah.
That counts.
Yeah, it's Zachary Levi as the Antonio Banderas, and it was just like that's not going to cut it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, that's yeah.
Could we
And-
not just
and-
bring Antonio Banderas back?
And even though we're talking about a struck company right now, I don't think we're necessarily promoting this series. So
I'm doing the opposite.
Yeah.
I would say don't watch that piece of shit.
I'm explicitly. Apparently Rodriguez is directing it.
I will say Rodriguez, he is Robert Rodriguez. And I do respect the fact that, like, he has kind of been on the same beat his entire career. Even when the movies, like, aren't financially... It kind of like M. Night in that way, where it's like... Yeah, although I am kind of an M. Night Shyamalan apologist, more so than Robert Rodriguez, but both of them are like, no, these are the movies that I want to make, goddammit. They look like this, they feel like this, they have similar beats, but, like, I am self-financing all these films, so fuck off. And I respect it.
It's the Gen X Spike Lee to Kevin Smith to Robert Rodriguez, where this was, like, probably the best it ever was to be an indie filmmaker. And they all dipped their toe. Like, if you recall, Robert Rodriguez made The Faculty, and that was like a studio film. Yeah. And then he's like, all right, never again. Kevin Smith had a longer dip in the toe of studio films. I would say Tarantino got away with being both, where they're like, yeah, we'll just give you all the money. But yeah, Rodriguez has always been like, from beginning to ends, like, I'd rather make what I want to make versus have a lot of money. And that includes movies for my kids, such as Shark Boy and Lava Girl and Spy Kids.
Yeah.
And he kept doing it all the way to fucking Hypnotic, in other words, for better or for worse. And then every now and then he'll do a fucking Book of Boba Fett or a Battle Angel.
Yeah.
Like, he'll dip his toe into the system.
Yeah.
He'll dip his toe and grab some money.
Movie.
Yeah, he'll grab some money and then he'll be like, I'm going to go make a movie I want to make. And he mostly does that.
Slay.
And yeah, you kind of have to respect it, even if the movies aren't your favorite, you know. But
yeah,
I like a lot of his movies.
I like most of his movies, that I've seen.
Yeah, and he's really, I love how, like, you know, he's famously out of the Directors Guild because of Sin City, because he was like, no, Frank Miller is basically the co-director. I'm not getting rid of his credit. Like, he doesn't give
I forgot about that.
Yeah, he doesn't give a fuck about the studio system. Yeah, Frank Miller is co-director of Sin City because Robert Rodriguez is essentially just stealing every frame of the comic.
Right.
And Frank Miller was on set to make sure it is. And so they were like, you can't co-direct with him. He's not Guild. And he was like, then I'm not Guild. Like, that was essentially what happened.
Awesome.
Because he doesn't give a fuck. Yeah, he just wants to make movies.
Yeah, I really respect that.
Yeah, not everybody gets to do what he does because obviously he has the money. And he works out of, where's he? A town in Texas. I have a friend who's...
Austin.
Yeah, I have a friend who lived in the same... Well, a lot of people live in the same place, but she lived in the same neighborhood as him. And apparently her childhood swing set was stolen by the production to use in like a Spy Kids. Her parents gave it away, but she, you know, in her perspective, it was stolen by her parents.
I think it's Spy Kids 3. They're in Austin, like full blown, like the Texas state capitol is in it. Yeah.
I don't want to tell her story for her, but it was something along the lines of she came home and she was like, where's my fucking swing set? And they're like, oh, we gave it to like Robert Rodriguez.
We gave it to Robert Rodriguez.
She's like, motherfucker.
How did this transaction happen?
He was driving around and he's just like, oh, I need
looking
that.
for swings?
But that makes sense. He makes the smallest budget films. It makes sense for him to just go around and be like, hey, can I use this place in a movie?
Would just be an extremely funny thing to come home and hear is all I'm saying.
Yeah, that would really be...
Oh, yeah.
Should we move on?
Yeah, let's move on. Let's thank some producers.
Let's do it.
Big old thank you to Deborah is awesome, Barbara is great, and Cancer can go to hell. Thank you. Thank you to Dracula, the bus-driving vampire.
Thank you.
Thank you to Driftless yelled hype as he burst through a window.
Sure did.
Thank you to E.T., the extravagant terresticle. Thank you to Evil Ed 209.
Thank you,
Thank you to Exploding Runes.
Thank you.
Thank you to Funky J Mostly Comes Out at Night. Mostly. Thank you to Heathcliff's Helping Handfuls. Thank you to ImpossibleWorlds.net. Read issue 2 and keep sci-fi alive.
Thank you so much.
Thank you to James Cameron's Prolapse Locomotive.
Thank you. All right, let me swoop in here. Thank you to Jay the Crow Baron. Ka.
Thank
you to Chris Shanovich.
Thank you.
Thank you to Look Mom on a podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you to Mabel. Step on me. Step on me. Thank you to Mackenzie. Fuck shuffling with Willem Dafoe's confusingly large dick. Chill.
Thank you.
His brown face dick. Fake tanned dick.
His tan dick, yeah.
Thank you to Mercurial Oz.
Thank you.
Thank you to Mike the Lurker.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tell Your Wife how many Patreon subscriptions you have before you agree to buy a house.
Thank you.
Thank you to musical guest Rob Ritchie.
Thank you.
Thinking of No One Can Hear You Scream and Space McNulty.
Thanks.
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 All right.
Is that it?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
that's
we are
it.
done.
News stories.
Um,
Drew Barrymore's
okay.
scabbing it up.
Yeah, she's her and Bill Maher, but
And
it's
Bill
so
Maher,
funny.
yeah.
I've seen some tweets, and they're from like friends and stuff, but I've seen people go like, "Oh, cross Bill Maher off the list," and it's like, I'm way ahead of you.
Why was he
like?
still
Oh, it turns
on
out
the
Bill Maher
list?
sucks. Yeah, it's like no, he sucked. Like it's I
Man
didn't
has
even mention.
sucked
I wasn't.
openly for decades.
Yeah. I had a short circuit, and I'd asked some more news people because at first I was like, didn't Conan do this too? And everybody loved him. But then I like talked it out and realized, okay, Conan paid his writers during the strike. That's one.
Yeah.
He's a writer as well, and he was openly supporting it. And if Drew Barrymore wants to make it out of this, that's what she has to do, right? Like, if she wants to do this, pay her writers, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
While running this show, if she can't afford to, then don't do it because it's gonna go real bad.
Yeah,
It's currently going real bad.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Well,
Sorry.
did you see the reports about like some audience members had like some WGA shirts on
Yeah.
and people like you can't wear it. Like that is
What the
I
fuck?
don't think Conan actually. I guess he did film with a live audience, but like I can't speculate on what Conan would have done, or anybody else would have done. But yeah, it seems like the bare minimum thing you can do is at least allow some kind of acknowledgement into the I don't know, it's weird. I just want to
like
I just every time I come on Hypecast I give somebody grace that ultimately doesn't deserve it, and I wind up my take almost immediately is bad like as soon as I finish recording this. But this is like the Drew Barrymore show coming back, Jennifer Aniston's coming back, even Bill Maher, who I do not like. I just think like I kind of feel a little bit for them because I feel like, and it's not just them, it's the producers, it's the show itself. I bet it's like either the show is coming back or it's never coming back. Like I think we're now at that point of the
Right.
strike where I think people are going to be having to. It's going to be much more difficult to say no. I still don't know if like this is the right move to come back. But if
That's
you're
the
gonna,
thing.
Yeah, but if you're gonna come back, like I remember when, because I remember that I was back in the States at this time. My military career had ended during the 2007 writer's strike. I remember.
Right.
I remember that because Conan and other late night talk shows or anybody that was still on TV, that's all anyone talked about.
Yeah, I mean, we had this discussion for this show because obviously we don't have any legal obligation to go on strike. We're not in SAG or WGA, but it's like, how do you do a show where you're like talking about the latest movie stuff during the strike,
Yeah.
and you kind of have to never not talk about it, and you have to because like obviously we support it, but obviously there's also these gray areas, right? And so like Conan O'Brien, for example, had to exist in that gray area, and he knew he had to do it a certain way. Bill Maher, his message, and again, I do not like Bill Maher. Can't stress that enough.
Yeah.
His message was trying to do that, where he says in his message, like, the show won't be as good without the writers. We're acknowledging that, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And it's this idea of like, yeah, listen, we have entire people with families and stuff that we have to pay. We have to come back, and it's, me and Tom, we got to keep doing podcasts. This is what we do. So how do you do it? And it's like, if Bill Maher said, I'm going to come back and all I'm going to do is talk about the strike, it'd be like, I don't like you, Bill Maher, but that's probably the best way to do it. Right. Same with Drew Barrymore, where if Drew Barrymore says like, listen, I'm coming back every week or every show, we'll have at least a segment where we acknowledge the strike and we support them. We put up like, to support them, here's the links. Like if she did that, I think it would go down a lot easier, right? But then this stuff about taking the WGA pins off of people, leaning into the opposite.
Taking people
Bill
out
Maher's
of the audience,
same.
yeah.
Yeah, Bill Maher publicly was saying, like, talking about the writers' strike being, they're being whiny, like, and it's like, like you can do this a good way, and they're not doing it a good way.
Yeah.
Also, Bill Maher
and
has like a $55 million contract with HBO. So.
Yeah, no, and fuck him.
Yeah,
like,
fucking
absolutely fuck him.
scumbag.
He can give his writers money.
Yeah, he sure
Pay
could.
the
Yeah,
writers
I
to
will
be
also
on
say,
strike. Bill
Drew
Maher.
Barrymore, sweetheart, you're a Barrymore. Talk about you could afford
Yeah.
to just
I
like
was-
out of
yeah, I
pocket
was-
pay your crew and everyone that's working on your show. So maybe they're out of work, but they're not going hungry. Fuck.
I was gonna say Drew Barrymore. I was like, I'm less sure about her finances, but I'm pretty sure she could afford it, right? Because it's hard. Because it's like if someone tells you you need to pay your writers, it's like no, the studios need to pay them, right? But like,
Yeah.
that's what this is about. Like, they're doing that celebrity auction where you can have like Lena Dunham paint a mural. Did you see that?
No.
Oh my
There's
God.
an
And
eBay
all
auction
of the
where
jokes
you can
are
have
so funny.
lunch. Yeah, you can have lunch with fucking Bob Odenkirk and David Cross. They're auctioning little celebrity experiences to give, I believe, to SAG.
I think it's
so
the
for
entertainer.
good.
Yeah, it's the Entertainment Community Fund. I think is the official
Okay.
charitable. It's
one
that like Spielberg is putting $1 million into, and I think it's become the primary resource for people to stay alive during this time.
Yeah, it's man, I want to hold on. I'm
No,
getting it up because
one of them was
some of them-
the New York Times Sunday Crossword with Natasha Lyonne.
Yep. And I was like, I don't
That's
need
good.
help. Thank you, Natasha. Oh, this is the one. This is the one that I wish I had money for. Watercolor Portrait of Your Dog by John Lithgow.
Oh,
and I was
hell
like,
yeah.
I will pay. Yeah, it's up to $4,000. Some of it, like that's what I love is some of them are really putting themselves out there.
Yeah.
The Bob Odenkirk, David Cross having dinner. It's like that could go really wrong for you. And then I respect, like Sarah Silverman is just like a Zoom conversation,
Yeah.
and it's like that's the arm's length I would normally expect, and I respect that as well.
Sure.
But it's I don't know. That's it makes like that's a good way for these people because it's been talked about a million times, which is that like most people in SAG aren't rich celebrities, like
Right.
80%
The
of them.
overwhelming majority, yeah.
Yeah. And so it's really sweet of these people to do what they can because they should, like, we should live in a world where rich people don't have to help out, right?
Yeah.
Where people are handled by our government. But because we're not in that world, it's nice when rich people actually do something.
Yeah.
And so, like, this is, I don't know. Yeah, this is all to say that, like, fucking pay your writers, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, just pay people.
Yeah, and you know what?
Yeah.
It's so stupid. Like all
Or
of this
just-
discourse is being drummed up about like what is scab and what is not scabbing and what can celebrities do and what they can't do. And like really, it just boils down to like 5 people just need to say, "All right, I guess we can afford it." You know?
Yeah,
like,
I guess
Yeah.
we can take slightly less
Get
millions.
the
Holy fucking shit.
motherfucking program. Oh my God. Bob Iger, I mean, that's been a name that's been around, but this David Zaslav guy,
Yeah.
Christ almighty, he has
He made
not
like
said
$250 million in 2021.
He has not
I
said
would-
one thing publicly that is like even remotely logical, intelligent, or like what. And can I just ask, whatever happened to public relations? Do you people not have a PR person in
They
your
don't
office?
care.
They don't care. Yeah, they
Because
don't care.
I think it's because the way movies have gone with all the Marvel of it all the superhero is that I think they, and I don't think this is true, but I think this is what they got, which is like, oh, they'll take any shit we shove.
Right.
Right, the brand.
If it's
They'll
on
take the brand. Yeah.
And I think what they're learning is that only went for so long because most of the people are not on their side. There are weird, like, my God. So David Simon, bless his heart, bless his shitty little heart. I would kill to have him just in a room with Zaslav, just to hear David Simon just go off. He's been brawling people on Twitter. And like I saw an account he was brawling with that's literally called, the hashtag is enemy of the left, and they're posing
Oh,
as a WGA
brother.
negotiator. And like it's the weirdest thing where it's like, what a sad life you'd have to be like the entire account is just about how writers don't deserve money. And it's like, why are there people like this? I assume he's just like a stooge they're a stooge for a studio. But it's wild, like, because of the way Twitter now works, where the
Sure.
shit floats to the top, where you see these little lives where you're like, so you just love rich people?
Yeah, I saw.
Is that
I
your whole
think, like,
personality?
Like, what is happening to you? What happened to your fucking life that you're doing this, spending time doing this?
Yeah, I
It's
saw
wild.
one of those like so far left they've actually gone right kind of accounts that had some tweet that was like, well, all the like basically the only way to make it in this industry is through nepotism. So I don't feel sorry for any of these union members.
Right.
And it's like, okay. All right.
Yeah, it's so weird how there's still these weirdos who are like, "Yay, corporations! I love corporations."
Yeah,
it's
what
punk rock to
what
love
a
corporations.
weird thing to be a stan of.
Yeah, like, yeah, you go, Bill Maher. Yeah, fuck your employees. It's like, what are you doing with your life?
Anyway.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Anywho, they just voted the Marvel CGI VFX people just voted to
I
unionize.
Yeah, I saw
that
that.
is fucking awesome. I think that's the other thing
Yeah.
AMPTP is forgetting. The less people are working, the more people are unionizing. Because
Oh,
now
yeah. It's
and I want the PA, the Production Assistants of America. This is your opportunity now. Unionize, please.
Remember
Assistants
we were
in this
doing
industry
that,
need a union.
yeah. It's the Avengers meme, ironically.
Actually,
it's the,
yeah.
On your left, let's put all the things. That's what's happening. People are, they're sick of it. Anyway,
Rightly
a Murder,
so.
She Wrote movie is coming.
Murder, She Wrote movie. Hell yeah. I fucking love Murder, She Wrote.
Yeah, my thought was like, sure.
Yeah, who cares?
All
Fine.
right.
Yeah. They're commissioned by Universal. I want to. It's the Writers of Dumb Money, I should say. We're commissioned by Universal. I assume they're not writing it anytime soon. I think they just in an interview was like, "Yeah, we're making that." That's all we know. So
Totally.
But
we don't know anything else.
The reason I love Murder, She Wrote is because of Angela Lansbury, though. So, like,
yeah, who are they gonna get?
are you gonna,
I don't
who
know.
are you gonna put in that show, man? I don't know.
Oh, it'll
I
be
think, like-
who's Fleabag? What's her ass? I bet she's like on the list.
Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
Yeah,
Is that
they're
right?
referencing Ryan Johnson in this article,
Right.
And I would say like the reason Knives Out and the fucking Natasha Lyonne film Poker Face,
Face.
not film,
The series.
show. It's because it's original stuff, so it's like I don't know if you need it to be called Murder, She Wrote, but at the same time, if you just call it that and make it its own thing, it's kind of like when we were talking about how Coogler is rebooting X-Files. It's like, well, that's Mulder and Scully. That's why I love that. And if you don't have them, you need to start from scratch.
Yeah.
You need to find a new reason for us to love this show. Like, essentially invent a whole new show.
Yeah, pretty
and then
much.
just have it be like, oh, yeah, and it's part of the X-Files.
Or the Murder, She Wrote
because-
files.
Yeah, exactly. And, there's an entire series called Star Trek that does this, or successfully did it for a while, right? They still got a lot of shit, like Voyager, DS9, even TNG got a lot of bad, fan reaction right away. But you can do this. You can do a banner. I don't know if Murder, She Wrote is going to be it, but I don't
What
know.
if it's a Star Trek show?
Yeah. Murder, She Wrote, The Next Generation.
Jessica Fletcher solving murders in space.
Hell yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Oh, I mean, absolutely.
She's got to go to space.
She better. She fucking better. Any other thoughts? Should we move on?
Yeah, we should move on.
Come on.
Let's thank some more producers then. Big old sloppy thank you to Norm from Cheers. Thank you. Thank you to Pete Forbagel.
Thank you.
Thank you to Numino, Ultra, Microscopic Silico, Volcano, Coniosis, Anti-Disestablishmentarianism Jones. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you to pre-order TikTok superstar Jason Pargin's new book, Zoe is Too Drunk for This Dystopia. Pre-orders are super important.
Thank you.
Thank you to RevMD.
Thank you.
Thank you to Ricky Cilantro.
Thank you so much.
Thank you to Rosemary's Baby from Eraserhead.
Thank you.
Thank you to Screaming Horse Pyramid.
Thank you.
Thank you to Sorry Cop, world's most laughable centrist.
Thank you.
Thank you to Steven.
Thank you so much.
Thank you to the conveniently placed self-destruct button on the top of every baby's head.
Thank you.
Thank you to the Midnight Patron with patrons at midnight.
Thank you. Let me jump in here. Thank you to the
Yeah.
Oatmeal Savage.
Thank
Thank
you.
you to the producer formerly known as the Ghost of Dave Thomas.
Thank
Thank you to the 2B Terror Bunny says support workers. Egg David Zaslav.
Yes, thank you.
Egg his big head. Thank you to these 7 Bs.
Thank you.
Thank you to Tiger George Pratt Thompson. Raindrops keep falling on my head.
Thank you.
Thank you to Tip Drizzle.
Tip.
Thank you to Tux.
Tux.
Thank you to Vincent with a Y.
Thank you.
Thank you to Why Don't You Take a Flying Fuck at the Moon?
Thank you.
Thank you to your mom.
Thank you.
And they get a zzz because Pie Guy liked being last.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
all
yes.
right.
Dave,
Let's go play Baldur's Gate.
Dave,
We're done.
one final thing before you can return to Faerun.
I'm going to the mountain thing.
Yeah.
I'm in Act 2.
Yeah,
I'm almost there.
I know, and you'll get back to it soon.
Gotta
Dave,
get the
but
tadpoles out.
you got to rip them out of your brain. But there's just one last little thing that I need to know. Do you have a movie that deserves more hype?
Yeah, I do. I do.
Magnificent bastard.
This was actually a tough week, and saying that makes it sound like this is not going to be like hype enough. It is. It's just so early that if normally I would let this simmer so I could wait for reviews, but there are no reviews yet. It's just coming out in festivals. It's called The Chapel. It is from the director of Piggy, another film we covered. Piggy was about. It looked really interesting. It was foreign language. It was about a young woman who gets made fun of because of her weight, and her bullies are essentially attacked by like a Texas Chainsaw type. And the trailer kind of leaves it as like, is she going to even help them? And that's what that movie was. And it looked really gritty and weird. This is the same director, this woman who, what's her name? Carolata Peretta? I think I just said it right. And this is around
Carlotta
a
Pareda,
young
it
girl.
looks like.
Yeah, it's about a young girl who's seeking out a medium, who's apparently to communicate to the spirit of a little girl in this chapel. She meets this other woman who wants to contact, I believe, her mother. And that's pretty much all I know. It was described as a fantastic fable that navigates between past and present, real world and the paranormal. It's just like Piggy looked so strong and it's gotten good reviews. And this looks really fucking strong and creepy. And it's just this trailer. It's on Vimeo, The Chapel, which is, I believe, a few films called that. So I would do The Chapel and then the 2023 or this director. What do you guys think of this trailer?
I was pretty enthralled. I thought it looked very interesting. I liked that it was like less of a trailer, more of a pure teaser. Like it was just the right amount to like know, okay, so this is like what kind of movie this is, but still a lot of questions.
Exactly. That's why I'm like I wish I had more time with this. I wish I had a review. It looks real creepy. It looks real fucking creepy. And
yeah, I'm into
if you
it.
watched Piggy, you probably would know whether or not you want to see this. But it looks like I don't know. I love a good supernatural ghost movie, and the thing about that genre is it's kind of a lot of trash, you know, or like a lot of mid films. So when I see one that looks genuinely like, ooh, this is going to be good and creepy, I'm jumping on it, and that's what this looks like to me.
Yeah,
I really like the look of it.
Yeah, that I was just about to say. It looks like really confidently made. Looks like either a decent size, but like high production value. It definitely looked good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope it's good. But yeah, you're right.
Wreck.
They really don't show you much at all in the trailer. It's just enough to get the vibe of the movie, and it feels pretty bleak.
It looks good though.
Yeah.
Like it's weird to say. So like when you look at when the trailer for The Nun comes out, you can kind of tell what that's going to be, right? And one of the ways to tell is like the color grading is it's always too blue, right? It's always just looks like they're like put the horror filter on it. This doesn't have the horror filter.
Put the spooky filter on.
Exactly. Like this looks like it's shot really beautifully just from the trailer. And it doesn't look like generic horror, you know, like it doesn't have that vibe. It looks like a very weird, interesting horror film. It's just right now there's not much to go by. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Check out the trailer on Vimeo right now. And I keep saying that because I couldn't find it on YouTube. So if you see a trailer on YouTube, it's probably not this, unless it came out. But check it out.
Yeah, give it
check
a
out
watch. Yeah,
Vimeo.
I still gotta watch Piggy.
I
That
still gotta
trailer
watch
was
Piggy.
really good.
Every time it's on my watch list, every time I look at it, I do like big breath, and I'm like,
it's tonight the
not
night.
today.
Yeah. It's tonight the night I'm gonna watch Piggy.
It looks intense, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like a lot.
It does, yeah.
Oh, man.
And I'm a little baby.
Well, guys, that's a sewed. We've done it.
Woo! Baldur's Gate.
Sarah, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you
Yes,
for
thank you.
introducing me to all these films I did not know exist whatsoever. I have so many new movies to watch.
Absolutely. Oh,
Sweet.
shit. You have stuff to plug. Did we not ask you at the beginning?
Oh, I think we forgot
If I want to
plugs.
plug something,
Son of a...
Yeah, hit your
Son of a
pluggies.
bitch. We try to... We've been asking at the beginning, and I apologize.
No, that's okay. Definitely everyone has listened all the way to this point, so no worries. Yeah.
Nobody shut this off. No one shut this shit
you
off.
dare.
No, not for a second. Yeah, I'm over at the Small Beans Network, so I've got 3 podcasts over there with Bridget Greenberg. Actually, if you just
Hell
follow
yeah.
me on Instagram at Sarah Griffith, I post about everything there. Also, if anyone's a baseball fan, I started making TikToks about baseball, and they've really taken off, and people seem to really care. So that's me on TikTok at SK_Griffith. That's the same thing as my Twitter handle. And I do a live trivia show there, actually, called Meatball Trivia. Every Fridays at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. I write trivia questions.
Ooh.
It's 9 innings of trivia, 3 questions each, like
About
1, 2, 3
baseball?
strikes. It's not all baseball oriented. I do have like a couple of categories usually that are baseball, but then a lot of it is like general knowledge, pop culture, just kind of like whatever I'm feeling. Honestly, I write the questions based on how the last week went. So last week, oh my God, I don't know. I did one category that was just such a flop. Like no one knew what I was talking about. So like whatever that category was, I'll probably won't go back to that. So
Right.
if you are there, if you are playing trivia and you're crushing like, I don't know, NFL players from the 8, that's not a category I would ever do, but you know, it's fun. It's fun. It's live. It's lighthearted. There's like no real
Hell
point
yeah.
system. It's just, you know, something to do. So yeah, check that out.
All right.
Cool.
I love people describing TikTok because everybody is like, I guess that's working. Like I'm doing this thing and people seem...
I'm telling you, I made a series. It was like, you may have seen it on Twitter, but it was like, these are baseball players that I think have names that sound like Star Wars characters. Like Mookie
Yeah, I did see
Betts,
that.
Cal Raleigh, Levis Basabe. Like, there's just some players that I'm like, these names fucking rule. They totally sound like a galaxy far, far away. That video got over 1 million views. ESPN wanted to use it. It was like,
Wow.
it made it on the way to some baseball broadcast. And then I got a notification from TikTok that was like, do you want to monetize this content? And I was like, yes. So
yeah,
Was
please
it
ask
not
me that
already?
earlier.
yeah. I'm like, actually, fuck yeah. So yeah, technically it is but it's mostly just me talking about the AL West. It's very niche
Yep.
kind of stuff, but people eat. I was like, I don't know. I don't give a fuck. I have no one to talk to about this, so I'm just going to post it online and see who gives a shit. And as it turns out, a lot of people do. So if you give a shit as well, check me out. I don't know. We could talk ball.
Talk ball.
Ball's life,
All right.
baby.
Sweet.
We what do we do, Tom? We have a Patreon.
We do, yeah.
Patreon.com/gamefully unemployed. GAMEFULLY unemployed. Just look at like what this podcast is under, the company, and then just do that as a Patreon. And for $5 a month, you get access to our other exclusive podcasts. Tom and Jeff Watch Batman, Fox Mulder is a Maniac, Star Trek The Next Futurama, Spiel Boys, all on there. Every Friday night, we watch movies. We will be watching both
Probably
The Underworld
watching
and The
Underworld
Blades.
and Rundown,
At some point.
I'm sure.
And Rundown, yeah. So check that out. Pretty please.
Maybe we'll watch Secondhand Lions. Who knows?
Yeah, fuck it.
We also have a store. Head over to gamefullyunemployed.com where you'll find a link to our Teespring store. We have all kinds of cool original artwork and designs you can get on t-shirts, mugs, stickers, posters, all sorts of things. So slap your secondhand peepers onto those.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
All right. Say goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye. Our music is produced by Chris Corlew. You can follow him on Twitter at @thecorlew, CORLEW, and find more music at shipwreckedsailor.bandcamp.com. Our channel artwork is produced by Michael Vincent Bramley. You can find more of his artwork at instagram.com/mvbramleyart. Our episode artwork is produced by Justin Brown. You can follow him on Twitter at @JustinTBrown and find more of his artwork at artnessbyjustinbrown.com and justinbrown.info.